offense as Utah lost its home court advantage over Golden State. The high-scoring Warriors got rolling with a 35-point first quarter and captured a 123-119 victory from a team that surrendered under 100 points per game during the season.
Any game, no matter what game it is, you want to get on top and stay on top. But, you're not going to get that every night. So I think, the game is over. We can enjoy it and then get ready for Saturday.
Mullen had 41 for the Warriors, who put on their own defensive show as well, holding Karl Malone to 22, 7 below his average.
They did a good job double-teaming Karl and messing up our offense. So we're going to have to make some adjustments. We're going to have to look at the film, and it's an unfortunate thing, but, we'll find out what we're made out of now.
In the Los Angeles Forum, the final score of 128-108 seems to indicate that the Lakers are off to a good start toward winning their third consecutive title. But midway through the third quarter, Portland was only down 5. Magic Johnson, who scored 30 to go with Byron Scott's 29, is hesitant to write off the Trailblazers, even though LA has won all 6 meetings this season.
Portland is the best, first-round team we've ever played. I mean, by far, they're not really a first-round team in my mind. They're more, they used to have the home court advantage or something like that. And they're a dangerous team, very dangerous. And we have to play them like this is not a regular first-round team for us, so we have to play them like it's another round because they're so, if they get it going, they can kill you.
Milwaukee fans would like to see their team get it going against Atlanta. The Bucks are now 0-7 versus the Hawks this season, despite a strong showing in the Omni that found the game tied with 6.5 minutes to play. Then Dominique Wilkins scored 7 of his game-high 28 points down the stretch, and Atlanta assumed control to win 100-92. The Hawks have this team in their hip pocket, but don't want to admit it.
No, we don't own them. I think we've played well against them in the games we've won. We can't go into these games thinking it's going to be easy.
Dominique's younger brother, Gerald Wilkins, had a huge opening game against Philadelphia with a season-high 34 in Madison Square Garden. But New York was only clinging to a 1-point lead in the closing moments when Mark Jackson drilled a long three-pointer with 16 seconds to play, giving the Knicks the breathing room they needed in their 102-96 win.
It took a lot out of them, no question. It was a hard-fought war, and when you hit a shot like that, it drains you, no question.
We were just very unlucky. Got hit a tough shot, but we still had other chances throughout the game. We just didn't capitalize on many times we should have.
I'm Tom West for Inside the NBA.
And still ahead, we've got more Inside the NBA. Kareem's farewell tour has wrapped up, putting a ribbon on a remarkable career. That story and tiny Archibald, little guy, big problems, solutions. Stick with me and we'll find out all about it.
Off the Bench, brought to you by new Maximum Strength Pepto-Bismol, twice the medicine than Pepto.
The Boston Celtics, synonymous with success in the NBA, relied on an unknown at the start of the season, Kevin Gamble, who joined the team from the CBA. Here the fast break, the layup, and 2 points. Gamble hit a career-high 31 points. He was 11 of 14 from the field, helping Boston beat Charlotte to win the final Eastern Conference playoff spot. Although Gamble started on this occasion, his play is well worth Pepto-Bismol's Off the Bench.
Jeff?
When Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was still Lou Alcindor and breaking into basketball with the Milwaukee Bucks, I was still contemplating my freshman year in high school. Neil Armstrong was doing the original version of the moonwalk, and who knew from microwave ovens? Well, we've been to the moon and beyond. Nuking dinner is commonplace. I'm still trying to get out of high school, but seriously, the big fella's career was remarkable. Its length, not so much as its depth. Nick Charles reflects back.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played his last regular season game Sunday, and the normally fashionably late Forum crowd was early this time. They gave the big guy a 45-minute retirement, and his teammates gave him a Rolls Royce. And with his parents and 4 children there, Kareem listened to the tributes pour in one last time, but this time before the home crowd, that has watched him bring his special skills to the Lakers for 14 years. Abdul-Jabbar played 20 seasons, beginning in Milwaukee, where he teamed with Oscar Robertson, made the Bucks winners, and brought Milwaukee a title. In 1975, he was traded to L.A., committed, of course, to excellence and winning, but with no idea both would go on for so long.
I'd hoped that, by coming here, maybe we could win a championship or two, and that would really be a fitting end, and, I could go on off into the sunset. And here I am.
From Rookie of the Year through 20 winning seasons, a 6-time MVP, a cornerstone of 5 more championships in L.A., holder of almost every record worth holding. But Kareem shrugs off statistics, and although his performance by his lofty standards has fallen off drastically this season, he says he didn't stay too long or leave too early, but is going with a mixture of regret and relief.
Well, the grind, and the pressure to be at your best all the time, I think that's always something that takes its toll.
His introverted, reflective nature led to a public perception he was unapproachable. But in the later years, we learned Kareem didn't bite. But always, basketball was his stage, his highest creative endeavor. And now that he could smell the roses of a sensational career and surrounded by enough talent to win it all one more time, Abdul-Jabbar is appreciating what he's achieved and what's ahead. And if he could write his basketball epitaph.
I just hope people can appreciate how well I played and how long I did it, the consistency. I can live with that.
Sensitive? Most definitely. Misunderstood? Perhaps. Unappreciated? Never. 20 years of perpetual excellence, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is standing tall, to be remembered always as a cut above. Nick Charles for Inside the NBA.
What a great legacy he leaves. Well, now that the regular season is but a dream which once was, we thought we would climb into the Wayback Machine and bemuse some of the more vivid memories of the campaign gone by. Once more, I'm here to list it just in case you missed it.
In case you missed it, brought to you by Acura Legend and Integra. Precision-crafted performance exclusively at your Acura dealer.
Well, let's start with the new kids on the block, shall we? The expansion Miami Heat got off to an expansion start, losing their first 17 games, finally winning 89-88 over the LA Clippers. The Heat drew well, but not as well as Charlotte, which topped the league in attendance, 950,000 and change. Pretty good mascot, too. Of course, there was that little preseason scoreboard problem to get over. Fall down, go boom. But Atlanta had its own late-season scoreboard problems as well. Guest operator this night, the Rain Man. Speaking of rain, it poured in Sacramento one night, right on the floor, causing considerable delay and consternation. Now, let's pick and choose some of the most memorable moments of the season. How about Frank Layden, a victim of Morgana's infamous smooch? Out like a light. Or how about the Kings' Jerry Reynolds? Out like a light. Period. There were the back-to-back buzzer beaters in the Clippers-Rockets game. Buck Johnson from long range for Houston. And then, as he looked on in absolute horror, Danny Manning of the Clippers heading back the other way. It was a banner year for mascots as well. The Suns Gorilla with his Air Jordan imitation. That's a keeper. But the Gorilla had a good season all the way around, wouldn't you say? Billy Thompson worked some of the season with a busted Beezer, an ailment which did not go unobserved by the San Antonio Coyote. It was the year of the designer uniform in Charlotte and faces to match in Indianapolis. It was also the year of living dangerously for furniture in Indy. Dick Versace with a little chair abuse. Versace, by the way, becoming the first coach to have his face appear on American currency. He is the guy on the dollar bill, isn't he? Oh, anyway, contest. How about the Pat Riley lookalike competition in Sacramento? Or Andy Sachs winning 10 grand in Chicago with this three-point hook shot? Kareem mocked up on his farewell tour, everything from boots to boats, with a Rolls Royce thrown in for good measure. I think I'll retire. All in all, we had a ball, didn't we? We laughed a little, cried a little, fought a lot. Over $100,000 in fines assessed for hooliganism on the hardwood. We made fashion statements in Oakland and pretty much shook it up league-wide. It was a real riot. I guess Icky Woods summed it up best when he shuffled and then said, NBA action! Fantastic!
In your diet. But of these leading cereals, only one is made from 100% whole grain. Only Wheaties. So only Wheaties gives you whole grain nutrition. And maybe that's why only Wheaties has Michael Jordan. Better get your whole grain.
You better eat your Wheaties.
Olympic gold medalist Brian Boitano. He dazzled the world in the 1986 Goodwill Games and skated to Olympic glory in the 1988 Winter Olympics. Now, this champion of champions speaks out on the 1990 Goodwill Games.
You train all year for something like an Olympics or Goodwill Games or a national championship. I think that the Goodwill Games will have the largest contingent of great athletes of the world.
The 1990 Goodwill Games, a winning tradition.
He only stood 6'1" and weighed 160 pounds soaking wet, and yet he lasted through 14 NBA campaigns and 7 professional basketball homes. He may have been small on girth, but Nate Tiny Archibald was big on tough. Yet when the career ended, the times proved tougher than he. With the story of Tiny's big problems and what he's doing about them, Tom Kirkland.
He played his way out of the poverty of the projects, making a living handling a basketball. But like hundreds of thousands of others who follow the bouncing ball, Nate Archibald's priorities got lost in the shuffle.
A lot of them just disappeared. That's what happens to professional basketball players and professional athletes. They excel so well on the field, and off the field they get nothing. Okay? And it happened to me, and it's going to happen to a lot of other people because we don't prepare ourselves.
The education on asphalt in the South Bronx helped the man called Tiny reach the top of his profession. In the 72-73 season with the Kansas City Omaha Kings, the 7-time All-Star did what nobody else has done, led the league in scoring and assists. Yet nothing satisfied like winning the championship with the Celtics in 1981.
I got into the game of basketball early, and my father bought me my basketball. It wasn't a Michael Jordan or Larry Bird. It was just a plain rubber cheap basketball. I didn't know that. Okay, I went out, snow, rain. This was my ball. I put my name on my ball. I didn't want my brother to touch it. I didn't want nobody to touch it. So when I wanted the championship, you know, my wife was saying, well, let me wear, you can't wear my ring. You can't even show nobody my ring.
Tiny's troubles began after that record 73 season. A brand new $3 million plus contract that should have secured his future didn't. 4 years later, he was broke. When his playing days ended in '84, Tiny took up college coaching while trying to resolve his financial crisis. Bad tax shelters in that bad contract put the IRS on his trail, placing liens on 3 properties, including his $350,000 house in El Paso. And when he allegedly threatened his wife with a gun, she went to court to get an order of protection. Disillusioned with coaching at UTEP and a marriage gone sour, Tiny retreated to the Big Apple to reconstruct his life. Saturday mornings at Fordham's Lincoln Center campus, he's opening new doors through a master's program in adult education.
Sometimes you're down, but it's how well you come back. And I think I'm on the comeback trail.
Beginning next month, Tiny gets a big chance to practice everything he's learned in class and preach to others about the hard lessons learned growing up here in the South Bronx. He's the new director of community relations for the Miami Heat.
The opportunity that I'm going to get down there is opening doors for myself and opening doors and enlightening the youngsters about what's out there. Because they think it's all about playing basketball, and it's not.
In New York, Tom Kirkland for Inside the NBA.
Well, if you want it, you can do it. Break time, but when I come back, some frivolity to ease the weary mind and previews of coming attractions. Stick around.
NBA. Sunday, Dallas into Denver's 19-game home court win streak. Roy Tarpley the slam, 2 of his 20 points. He also had 20 rebounds. The Mavericks, however, were unable to make the playoffs, but Tarpley gets Chicks in the paint.
One last little treat. You know, the NBA provides a service to the media known as the headshot. They take portraits of all the players so that we may use them as we will. Well, the guys all look sane in the finished product, I agree, but getting there is quite a different story. And see if you don't agree.